Hello everyone, welcome to Mono Chess, and today I will be showing you the video of how to play chess. So if you want to learn how to play chess, this is the video for you. So I will be introducing what pieces there are, how they move, how much they are worth, and how to win the game, and the special moves. So I will start off with introducing our pawns. These pawns are the little guys in front of each army. And in chess, you have an army of black pieces and an army of white pieces. So the thing about the pieces is the white colored pieces are mm, always move first. So to set up the pawns, they go on the second or seventh rank. So the pawns are stacked like these in front of all of our other pieces. So pawns, they move twice on the first move, and then after that, they can only move one square. Pawns can capture diagonally, and and the rule about the pawn and pawns are mainly regarded to be worth 1 point. So, but the special rule about pawns is if you get your pawn to the other side, you can promote it into a different piece, which is worth more, like you can promote it into a rook, bishop, knight, or queen. So that's our pawns. Next is our rooks. Rooks are worth 5 points, and they are placed on the corners of the chessboard. Rooks are worth 5 points because they're very powerful and they're allowed to move up, down, left, or right. So those are our rooks. Next are our knights. Knights are the horse-looking pieces, and they are placed on and they're placed right next to the rooks. Knights are worth 3 points, and they can be moved in an L shape, which is two squares up and and one square left or right. Knights can move like two squares right, one square up, two squares left, one square up, two squares up, one square left, two squares up, one square right, and then two squares down, one square right, two squares down, and one square left. They can also move two squares left, two squares right, one square down, two squares like, yeah, just any way in an L shape if you understand. The good thing about knights is they can jump over other pieces and they're really good at attacking. Next is our bishop. The bishop is placed next to the knight and it's two squares away from the rook. The bishops bishops can move diagonally like this. Each side has two bishops, one light squared bishop to take control of the white squares, and the dark squared bishop, one to take control of the dark squares. Bishops are worth 3 points. If not, they can be worth more because in open positions they can move really far. Next is our queen. The queen is placed on the same color as it is. Like, for example, like I said, our rooks are on the edges, knights are right next to them, and then the other side is the bishops. So now the only squares left is this D file and E file. The D is the light squared one, and or the dark squared one for the other side, and then the queens have to be placed on the same color as the square. For example, the white queen placed on the white square, black queen placed on the dark square. So that's how we set up our queens. To move the queens are basically worth 9 points, and they are a combination of the rook and bishop because they can move up, diagonal, left, right, up, and down. You get the point. So those are our queens. Finally, last but not least, our kings. Our kings are placed on the E file, and they can move and they're placed on the opposite color of what they are. Like the black king placed on the light square, white king placed on the dark square. You get the idea. So after that, those are our kings. Kings are worth usually infinity, the game, because they cost us the entire game. But in the end game where the kings are used for attacking, they're usually worth like 3 points or so. Finally, I will be teaching you about special moves. Special move number one is check. Check is where you attack your opponent's king and it's in a threat to be captured. You're not technically you're not allowed to capture the king unless depending on the game you're playing. Like for example, you play Bug House or a special type of blitz where you're allowed to take the king if that's legal. But in regular chess, you're not allowed to take the king. If your king's in danger, your king has three options. You can either capture the piece which is checking your king, you can block the check, or you can run away from the check. So that's how check works. To win the game, you have to do something called checkmate. Checkmate is where, like this, you have your king. Your king cannot run away from a check, and it has no other legal option to do. That is called checkmate. So next, our special move is en passant. So en passant is where you have here. So you have a pawn which is standing in the middle of nowhere, and then your opponent pushes to your, or you or your opponent pushes a pawn 2 squares front, which makes it parallel, and then you can en passant it like this. No, it's not magic, but in passant stands for in passing in French, and what you can do is you can capture it backwards like this. So that's our special move number one. Our next special move is castling. Castling is where we try to get our king safe and we move and we have two types of castling. Short castling, also known as kingside castling, and long castling, also known as queenside castling. So the reason why we mainly castle is so we can get our king safe. To castle kingside, our kingside pieces should be all cleared up, and then we move our king twice, and then our rook twice. Like this. King twice, rook twice this way. For queenside castling, our queenside pieces should all be away, and then we move our king 3 squares, and then our rook to the d file like this. The good thing about castling is you can always use it to escape, to get your king safe from a bunch of different threats. So now I will be introducing you to the rules of castling. So to castle, your king should not have moved at all before. Like for example, if I move my king here and then my king back here, I cannot castle again. That's just against the rules. But same with the rooks. If I move this rook once and then I move this back, I cannot castle kingside. I can still castle queenside because this rook has not been moved. So yeah, that is the rules for castling. Last but definitely not least, I'll be teaching you about chess notation. The reason why we use chess notation is so then usually in tournaments it can be used to write down your chess moves, so then you can replay it and then look at what mistakes you made, and it can be used for a variety of circumstances. So the way to do chess notation is you graph the pieces you have on the board. So how do we graph it though? We have files like this, and then we have ranks like this. You see, the ranks have a number like rank number 8, rank number 7, rank number 6, rank number 5, rank number 4, rank number 3, rank number 2, and rank number 1. White's pieces are usually on the first and second rank, and black's pieces are usually on the seventh and eighth rank. Here's how we do chess notation. To notate our pieces, for example, we'll start off with pawns. They're basically just default. So to move them, we move, this is our pawn, moves to coordinate E4. Pawn to E4. We will have to write PE4 because the pawns aren't worth much and they're just default. However, for our capturing, we always use an X. So when we're capturing, we don't have to write E4 X D5. We can just write E takes on D4. I mean, sorry, D5. So that's how we do capturing with pawns. We always use an X. Next, we have our knights. Knights are usually used with an N. For example, knight F3 is N F3. The thing about pieces other than pawns are they should always be capitalized when moving. So, for example, we move a rook. So we have to do capital R to, for example, here, capital R to A3. That's how we move a rook so then we do not get like confused. Like, for example, we have our bishop. We won't get our bishop confused with moving our bishop or our b pawn. So like I said, for capturing, you can just you always use an X. Like our queen, capital Q, X, the D5. That's how we do capturing. Like our special move I told you about on Passant, you can just write X for that. There is no special notation for it. Like for example, our E pawn and this F pawn, E EX D5. EX like here. Sorry, I messed that up. EX F6. That's how we do en passant. Our next special move is promotion. So when we're promoting, we can write see C7, our pawn in C7, and then we can write equals to, and then you can choose anything like equals to B for bishop, equals to R for rook, equals to N for knight, or equals to Q for queen. So that's how our promotion works. Next is check. So for example, we move our queen to H5, and then since the king is in check, we add a plus for check. So that is how we notate check. To notate checkmate, however, we use a hashtag like this. See, queen takes on F7, check, and yeah, that is check. And this is how we notate checkmate. Sorry. Queen takes F7, hashtag. That's checkmate, and the king cannot move to any other square. Next is castling. So for castling, castling king side or short castling is 0-0 because each of the zeros stand for one square moved. So we move our king two squares when we're castling king side. When we're castling queen side, however, it's 0-0-0 because we move our king three squares. One is three squares like this. First square, second square, third square, like this. It's like, yeah, that's how we differentiate castling king side and castling queen side. So that's all the rules for chess. And thank you for watching my video. I hope this helped you a lot. And I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and don't forget to like the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video.